All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the night show. It's the Bay Area Black Community Reloaded. I'm your humble host, West Coast Wolf. I come to you to another episode tonight, but tonight we have a special guest host tonight. My brother in the skin, in the flesh, in the movement. My brother Sidney's going to talk to us about what will black people be able to celebrate in 50 years, considering today is Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, and there's a lot of movement, a lot of things happen behind that civil rights movement. And my brother's going to discuss these topics tonight, and it's going to be a group discussion. He told me we're not everybody have participation, so make sure you have to raise your hand when there's questions time. You'll be able to press 1 on your phone. You'll be able to get into the queue. We'll see your hand raised, and we'll give you the opportunity to speak. So I'm going to hand to my brother Sidney. He's going to go take it from here. Brother Sidney, your mic is open. You ready?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All right. How's everybody this evening? I know you can't answer all at once, but I hope everybody's doing well. First of all, I do want to give a shout out to Sean, and I want to touch on how we met and what you're doing and the people that really see your vision. And as I looked at the website, the Bay Area Black community, I mean, it's really amazing what you're trying to do. But this really has to happen across the nation, in every highly African-American community. And also I want to give the glory to God. And I say that to say this, when we talk about how God moves in mysterious ways. I moved up here from Southern California, up here on faith, with the idea that me and another brother wanted to open up a restaurant in Antioch and to provide jobs for our people and our business. Then I met this young lady by the name of Mai. I talked about my vision and my passion, and we shared similar passions. Then she told me about this brother named Sean. And I got to tell you, everything that she felt about you and said about you is right on the spot. And I just had to give you some respect. But a lot of times we find ourselves not really recognizing. You don't ask for it, but the question I have for all of us, why don't we do it? And there's no point in telling anybody else. But anyway, as he stated, what will black people celebrate in the next 50 years? And what will the black community look like based on present conditions? So if everybody can take a pen or a piece of paper, the three things that we're going to talk about is present economic conditions. What will economic conditions look like after 100 years celebrating Martin Luther King and Malcolm X assassination? And number three, the black generation X and Y. Why they hold the key to their grandkids' future and why. So this is a group participation. At any time, if anybody wants to gauge in and have dialogue, I would appreciate it. But so going forward, what I want to talk about first is the present economic conditions. It has been said that African Americans have 1.1 trillion buying power in the United States. Okay. Last time I checked, that's a whole lot of money. Now, here's the part that doesn't really make any sense. With that money, we only keep the dollars in the black community a mere 6 hours. Now, I want to tell you the comparison. Asians keep their money 28 days. Jews, 20 days. White folks, 17 days. Hispanic, I think it's around 10 days. And we're only 6 hours. Now, that condition, is that something that we created? Because it doesn't make sense that we have 1.1 trillion buying power, but our money only stays in our community for 6 hours. The last time I checked, that's not going to work for the next 50 years. Something has to change. Excuse me, and there has to be a drastic movement. And right now, our population is anywhere between 42 million to 45 million. And here are some of the conditions that create economic conditions. We have gangs in our communities. Fathers not providing for their kids and not staying with their family. And we understand that sometimes people don't stay together. Husband and wife don't stay together. But at the end of the day, you're still responsible for your children and their future. We have high crime rates in the African American community. That in itself is going to create economic conditions, because if you open up a business, the odds are you're probably going to get robbed a few times or even lose your life for trying to do something better for your community. So again, these are conditions that have to change. Right now, if we ask ourselves how many of our kids are going to college, let alone graduating from high school, but the college tuition right now is $29,000 to $50,000 a year. Now I want you to understand, I said $29,000 to $50,000 a year. 4 years, you're looking at $120,000 after you finish school, and that's right now. So if it costs $120,000 right now, let's say, and this is for the audience to just throw out numbers, 50 years from now, is it going to be $400,000 for your education? Because it's $120,000 now, and we're talking 50 years from now. Or is it going to be $200,000, $400,000, $500,000? And based on our present conditions and how we think right now, none of our kids are going to be going to school. That's that. Unemployment rate in a lot of our communities, it's in double digits. Detroit, it was high as 30%. So let's just say if the unemployment rate right now across the nation is, I think it's around 5% or less than 5%, and ours is 10 to 30%, and I'm being conservative with the 10. I think it may be 15 to 30%, and we're talking right now, this minute. So now, with that in mind, add 50 years, because everything that I say, add 50 years, and what that means is year 2067, because it's going to come. It's not like unless somebody blows up the world, God decides that, you know what, I'm tired of what I see. Those are conditions that really don't look good for us. And I want to read something from the Bible, and it's in Genesis, and it's 15:13, and it goes like this. God said to Abram, know for certain that your descendants will be strangers in a land that's not theirs, where they will be enslaved and oppressed 400 years. Now, this is in the Bible. So last time I checked, we'll be 200 years in slavery. So does that mean we're going to have 200 more years of this? And I don't know that I won't be around, but I still care about my people. The conditions in Detroit, that's a model. So as many of you know, Detroit was bankrupt. And if you've been to Detroit, and I'm from Detroit, that's where I was born. But I want to say, this is what the Chinese are doing right now. They're buying up boarded warehouses and not doing anything with it. Their theory is they're going to hold on to it until it's time to do what they need to do. But they own the land. And I think that's one of the things that our conversation that we had at the meeting on Saturday at Southern Cafe was that we want to own land and open up a bank. Those things are going to be important for us in the future. So if we're not doing it now and we're trying to think like it, we're not in the position of not being successful, because we only have really 2 decades left to turn this around. And I say this to say that if you're 30 years old now 50 years from now, you're 80. So I don't know how much you'd be able to do if you don't start now. If you're 40 years old, you're going to be 90. 50 and a higher, we're 100 and something. So the odds are we're really not going to be here. So the kids from 20 to 25, those are millennials. Now, for many of us, the millennials, everything is computer, and they don't really believe in working hard. And everything is, I don't do anything unless I get paid. Now, if that's their mentality now in their 20s, well, let's say between now and the next 50 years, if that's their way of thinking, I'm pretty sure that they're going to teach their kids that way of thinking and their grandkids that way of thinking. And it's not to say that, man, you're giving all this doom and gloom information. I believe in our people. The reason why I'm having this discussion is to show that this has to change, because in many cases we'll say, what's it going to look like in 50 years? Man, it's going to look bad. I don't want to hear the word look bad. How is it going to look? Are we going to have jobs? Will it be a condition of apartment complex? A bus comes and picks you up. You get into the bus drives you to the job site. You work, you get back on the bus, and you go home. You don't get paid money anymore. You're working for shelter. And when you go eat, you go downstairs to a cafeteria. And the reason for this, and I'm saying this to say, everybody on this call, you tell me based on the present conditions and how we behave right now, what would it look like 50 years? And this is the part that's important, that everybody engage in this. I'm telling you what I see. Because if we have 1.1 trillion buying power right now, and we only give money to our own, and it stays in our community for 6 hours, if it's like that right now, what is it going to be 50 years from now? Who's going to change that cycle? And that's why, again, I talk about all the people on this call and this organization. Don't ever think what ordinary people can do, because they can do extraordinary things. And based on my observation and the people that I've met, I feel strongly that a movement can take place. Having said that, you do know we can't do it by ourselves. This is something that has to happen throughout the nation, not just in Oakland. It has to happen in Chicago, and definitely Chicago, with the crime rate and the killing, the homicide in Chicago. I mean, if you just think about the homicide in Chicago right now, what's going to change it for the next 50 years? And Chicago's been like this for a while. Detroit has a high crime rate. St. Louis has a high crime rate. Baltimore, every place that has a high population of African Americans. And so many times you hear us on TV, our leaders, we need to have jobs. And this bugs me, and it's just my personal opinion, and this is open for discussion. You're asking the white man to solve your problems. But if we reflect back on our history, the last time I checked my history, everybody across the world came to Africa to learn. They came to learn from us. We were progressive. Now, we do know that slavery moved us here to California, to the United States, and as a result, they made sure that we weren't progressive. And what were the things that they did? It was a crime for you to read. It was a crime for you to learn. They didn't want you to learn, as far as getting your education. Now we have our education. We even had a president, a black president. So there are things that we can do, but the question, and this is a question I'd like to have dialogue on, why don't we do those things? And what can we do to change that type of behavior? Number 3, the black generation X and Y. The reason why it's so important that people, that the baby boomers, create a unity, create a role model, or even a mentor type behavior toward even that generation. Because Generation Y is called Generation Y because they question everything. Why? If I ask you to pick up something, I don't need you to ask me why. Just go pick it up if I'm your boss. But they need to know why. Why can't somebody else do it? That mental conditioning that they have is not really, really conducive to our future. Now, having said that, we have many brothers and sisters that are doing well. But if you divide that percentage into the total African American population of 42 million, that's really not a high percentage. Hey, Sean, I would like to open it up right now just for some response, just based on what I said. I have a little bit more to talk about, but I would like to open it up and see what kind of feedback, because I really do want participation if we can all engage.
Okay. Everybody who wants to comment on that, press 1 on your phone, and I will see your hand raised, and we'll allow you dialogue today. Press 1 on your phone, and you can open up the queue. And okay, I got some people here. Okay. You want to do all at once, or you want to open it one at a time?
No, you can open it up one at a time.
Okay. I got 5769. I think I know this is. Welcome to the call.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
All right.
Good.
What's on your mind? Go ahead, Cindy.
I just wanted to put my input in. You asked a question about why we are not able to make progress or work together in a sense. I believe that was one of the first questions. I think a lot of it has to do with, you kind of answered it too in the next couple of sentences, but this is two points I want to bring out. I think that we are either in the mentality of having too many cooks in the kitchen, meaning everybody wants to be the boss or doesn't want to be told what to do, or the other problem I think we have is jealousy. And those two mixed up together can create a situation where you may think you're making progress once you, let's say, for instance, once you do start a group, you may think you're making progress, but those things seem to always seep into the situation one way or another. You know, everybody needs to be able to play the position, but that just never happens. So that's the problem. And I don't know if that's in our DNA, if that's in mankind's DNA or not, but that seems to be a problem that holds us back. But for some strange reason, it doesn't hold any other race back. That they seem to kind of know that when it comes to business and building wealth as a community, they seem to know to do that. They seem to kind of fall back because they have results. We don't have results. So that's what I think the main problem is. I don't know if that made any sense, but that's how I feel.
No, that's good, because I think we all need to hear that to understand where we need to go and how many people feel this way. But you touched on it perfectly, especially with too many cooks in the kitchen. A lot of us don't support and follow. We feel like we have to lead, and if we don't like the direction, even if 75% of it you may agree, you still won't follow because it's not exactly how you'd like it to be. But just like you said, those other cultures follow. And the jealousy part is interesting that you talked about this. We've been through this when W.E.B. Du Bois checked the history back in the early 1900s. He put together a group called the Talented Tenth, and that was all of the highest scholars, African-American brothers and sisters, to change the future of African Americans. And there were a high percentage of those individuals not supporting the direction, and that group disseminated. And we're talking back then when the opposition was really against us. In fact, they could not meet on the grounds of the United States. They had to go to Canada, Niagara. So you're touching on some very positive things, and I just want to encourage you that obviously you being on this phone, you still believe in your people. So that was great feedback. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. No
Okay.
problem.
Yeah. Who's next?
Okay, I have last digits of the phone number is 4355. I'm open the line for you. 4355.
Hi.
You're live.
Hi, good evening. First of all, I want to
evening.
thank you guys for having this call. This is Anita from Tracy.
Okay.
Phenomenal call so far.
Welcome,
I'm really enjoying everything. Thank you. I agree with the last caller. I really think that that's our biggest problem is jealousy. You know, instead of us looking after each other, it's like let's figure out a way that we can be against each other. And that in itself has held us back for years. And until we change that, it's going to continue to hold us back. You know, I mean, it starts even like with the kids. You know, just trying to get them to understand, okay, stick together. As you know, even growing, you know, as your kids are growing up, you're teaching them. You know, you want to stick together. If you have true friends, stick with those friends. You guys be on the same accord. You know, just try to be positive with each other. I think a lot of that, as you was talking about, you know, the man not being in the home and the really, you know, the parents, period. Because I'm a foster parent, been a foster parent for the last 17 years, and I've seen so much of that come into my home, you know, and I really try to work with the kids that I have in my home to try and teach them, okay, you know, no matter what, even though you guys are not related, you guys are still family, you know. So I just think the whole thing is, you know, if we can just get our mindset to say, let's come together on one accord, let's everybody come together to make it. And as a black race, I really feel that we have so much, and this country has been built so much with our ideas, our, you know, our inventions. And if we came together and stuck together, I mean, there's no turning back. But we need to try and really work on that mentality and get that me out of it, and let's come together as us. You know, there's no I in team, there's, you know, T. So, you know, together everyone achieves more, and that's what we need to do as a race. Everyone needs to come together so we can be a team and not an I. But I just really thank you guys for this call, because it's really an inspiration for me, and I wish, you know, there could be everybody on and look, everybody needs to be on this call. So I just want to thank you for, you know, taking the time to do this.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate the encouraging words. And you're absolutely correct. And if we had everybody across the nation, they would say a lot of the same things that you've said, the same thing the brother said, and the same thing that I'm kind of conveying, and many of us feel the same way. Even Sean, he's definitely got skin in the game, and he believes in it. But there comes a time, just through my observation, once we get started talking, what it boils down to is that we're just talking, whereas we need to be with more like-minded people. And everybody has an opinion, and we should respect that and look at that, because if you are successful in anything that you're doing, everybody that comes around you, he or she, should listen. You can learn something. But very good. Who's next, Sean?
All right, hold on. Let's see. Before I go on, I want to say something to that, sister. Sister, we're here every Monday, first Monday and third Monday of the month. So we always have a discussion like this on some topic pertaining to our people. We've been doing this probably since it'll be a year in March. We started this show broadcast. We're just building the audience, talking to the right people. And what Brother Leonard said was true. We need to have that conversation. We need to be around like-minded people. And as we build our teams out, I have a lot of skin in the game. And like you said, and I really feel like you have to spend time with people who think like you. This is the very important point. It's too many times we let people go because maybe petty differences. But in reality, for black people, you don't let people go that's got a sharp mind. That's not people you let go out of your sight, out of your sphere of influence, out of your circle. Because people with like-minded black folks on a movement to build a community again, that's a rare thing. It's a rare finding. And once you find those people, you need to hold on to them. Because the Bible even say there's somebody sticking closer to you than a brother, than a natural brother or sister. And what that means is a lot of people, that means that you need to be with people who got your best interest at heart. Because sometimes more times than not these days, the blood relatives ain't gonna be the one that's gonna be on your team. So we need to stick together as a family, and we go from that. And with that, let's see who else wants to talk. Let me see what we got here. Press 1 on your phone, family, if you want to speak on this topic. The lines are open. You can have your say. Press 1. We'll see you in the queue. We'll let you have your say. Don't be shy. That's another thing. We have a lot of people who are shy in our community. People listen, but they're afraid to speak. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this we can't chastise you, and we can't hold you. We can't hold you up by your feet on the phone call. You know, you can be in your pajamas. You can say whatever you want to say. You know, just be respectful. You don't have to agree with everything we say, but you can speak. It's okay. This is the black community call. Now, if you're not a black person, I understand where maybe you want to keep quiet, but we can't see what color you are on this call, so you can fake it if you really wanted to. So if you you can say it. I'm just gonna put it out there like that because I'm wrong like that. I'm gonna just say how it is. So you got something you want to say?
Okay.
Hey, okay, I see somebody.
Yeah,
Let me see. Hang on, we got
good.
somebody. 9339. Don't be shy. The line is open. Welcome to the call.
Hi, thank you, and thank you for taking my call and for this very important topic. I want to comment on the question, the same question everybody else is, basically, why don't we do better? And my response, I'm definitely in agreement with the previous two callers that those are reasons, but I also want to offer suggestions or see what you guys think about possible solutions to those issues. And one being, with there being too many cooks in the kitchen, if there was some way I really feel like we need a leader, first of all. We have been lacking leadership since the 60s, in my opinion. And everybody who calls themselves leaders of the black community these days are not, in my opinion. They're media hounds or whatever, just really, at the end of the day, just in it for themselves, for their own fame and personal growth or glory. It's hard to get a leader because, like we said, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. So, but I feel like there needs to be a leader who puts an agenda, a platform out there that has very specific goals and very detailed and thorough roadmap to how we're going to reach those goals. And I think once that vision, map is out there, now, of course, getting it out there and getting everybody to see it, literally nationwide is probably our biggest challenge. But I think it could be broken down to where you can have many leaders because, first of all, 45 million people, 42 to 45 million people, you need more than one leader, obviously, and you need a lot of different leaders in a lot of different areas. And the other part is because we are so spread out nationwide, just geographically, it's impossible for a lot of us to get together under one, leadership, one group, one leader, whatever, anyway. But similar to Farrakhan, basically, where, we have people who are nationwide and even international that, quote, follow him. But at the same time, when they have their meetings or whatever they have, there's different ones set up all over the place. So, but they're on the same main agenda. I feel like we need something like that. Where, again, you could have a whole bunch of leaders and you don't necessarily have to worry about the too many cooks in the kitchen part. But in terms of the roadmap, and another place is another point to that, is having specific tasks and duties and spelling out and pointing out what we need so that you have, all your computer tech people, in this section, or this is their agenda and their platform, what needs to happen. We need to have our own, we need to have a lot of black-only websites and even the internet, server completely somehow just for us, all kinds of social media venues and apps and all that stuff that are completely black-owned. So you have that, the whole technology, group. And there's tons of brilliant minds and tons of, ideas, but it's like we're saying, being around like-minded people. Well, if you group them together under different things, and so then you have another area where these are, your tradespeople, and you have, everything from carpentry to electricity, electricians, et cetera, right? You have transportation people, you have restaurant people, you have different types of business entrepreneurs, and so it's all kind of broken down and compartmentalized into where people can go to what really interests them and where their expertise is. And it's something about when you are around like-minded people, you do give that attention and that respect and listen to somebody because you already know you're kind of on one accord, you're like-minded, right? And you realize that you can build synergy and you can build something better together than you can individually. So when it comes to trying to like create apps or people who are going to be good at researching and developing and acquiring real estate, land and building on them, it's like you leave certain things to the people who are professionals in those things, and we kind of all share in the quote leadership, and we all get to work in certain areas that really do fit our expertise, and then we're around peers and among other people who are like-minded, not only in the overall agenda of progressing or forwarding the black race or helping prevent us from going into economic slavery, but also like-minded in our profession or the things that we're mostly interested in, our skill level. So then that again brings, I think that can help like the camaraderie and the maybe help dispel some of the jealousies, like because you realize that you really are on the same team and you're trying to reach a certain goal, and you have to, or you do respect other people's inputs who are, who have studied just as much as you have or have the same degrees as you have or whatever, or even if not, but they're proteges and they want to learn and they come under you and they're willing to succumb to your leadership because you have gotten to where they want to go. You have younger generations. So anyway, I've talked a very long time. Sorry. Thanks for listening, but that was my input, and I would like to know what Sean and Sydney think about that. Thank you.
I'll go first, Sean, and then
go ahead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're doing this together. Okay. So those are very good points that you brought up. But as you mentioned, you did talk a lot, and a lot of what happens is we all get on a roll with a lot of things that need to be done, and everything that you said needs to be done. But in the structured calendar platform, I would suggest the top three things, and you mentioned talented youth, education, economics, and then the STEM program, and then family. If we have those four things, and we started pushing that movement across the United States in the African-American community, I think it would cover quite a bit. Let me, before the next caller, let me read something that I kind of guide myself with. And many of us know this, and I'm sure everybody on the call knows it, but I'm just going to read it. And it's the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And I know it's only really celebrated right after Christmas, but I think that needs to be a cultural behavior and a cultural collectivity. And number 1 says unity. So strive for, maintain unity in family, community, nation, and race. Number 2, self-determination. To define ourselves, as you stated, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Number 3, collective work and responsibility. To build and maintain our community together, to make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and solve them together. Number 4, cooperative economics. To build and maintain our own stores, shops, other businesses, and to profit from them together. And I give an example. And again, I'm giving the Bay Area community their props. I know that you're based out of Oakland. Most of the people are based out of Oakland. But for the last 2 meetings, our team has traveled all the way to Antioch to have the meeting. But not only do they have the venue to have the meeting, they're supporting by buying the product. They're keeping their money in the black community. And as I shared with someone the other night, when our organization is having meetings in a building where people can see, and as it begins to grow, that is where children that are sitting at another table are hearing people getting educated. They're seeing knowledge. They're seeing teaching. So having that meeting in the restaurant does more than what you think, than meets the eyes. Okay, so I'll continue. Number 5 is purpose, to make collective vocation. Remember this, the collective vocation, the building and the development of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Creativity, to always do as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it. And then faith, to believe in all our hearts, in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and the victory of the struggle. I think if everybody said, I'm going to live this particular way for the rest of my life, you will see a movement similar to the 1960s. Real quick, Sean, did you want to
Oh, yeah, I got a lot
engage?
to say on it. Oh, yes,
Okay.
sir. Absolutely. The goal, my vision for the Barry Black Community Organization, it was real simple, to reestablish the family structure. And I know this more than most because my family was destroyed in many ways. Growing up in a divided household, alcoholism, abuse, my mother holding on to believe in God to safeguard us and take us to the next level, and my father letting the white man tear him down to the point where he come home and tear his family down. So I come from a very hard place, mentally and physically, emotionally, spiritually. My attitude and my mindset is based on my experience and my travels around the world, 7 countries around the world. And I'm going to tell you what I've learned over my travels. The main thing that moves people is family, good, strong family ties. And for example, I'll give you an example. I worked many jobs, and no matter what job I went to, there was always somebody who didn't like the boss man, white, black, or whatever. And what it always came down to, if you were not a lazy person, your whole thing was, did the man respect you? Did he care? And I noticed that when people know you care about them, they work harder, longer than anything else. It says show somebody. It's a saying that says people don't want to know how much you know. They want to know how much you care, and that's true in the family. Like for example, brother talked about too many cooks in the kitchen, and I believe that's a big problem too because, like myself, I started this organization because I felt there was nothing out there doing what I want to do and what I want to see, what my people want to see for the community. For example, many people out here with leadership, saying black leadership, they're saying they have all this going on. They got money, they got resources, they got people following them. But in the end result, if you go to these people, some of these people who are in power, so to speak, they're real arrogant, they're real selfish with their resources. They want you to bow down and do active worship almost to get certain things done, like use their facilities. It's a lot of different things. Reason why I didn't join other groups. I would have gladly joined another group and follow on and play my position. It wasn't an issue that I needed to be in front. It's the fact that I didn't see nobody doing the right things. So I had to create the right things. And I feel like what Sister was talking about, we need the structure, we need to format everybody, a lines of everybody. That's true. But in the beginning phase, we have to build a core team to withstand the storm. And that's what we're doing right now, building a core team to withstand the storm. Because there's people out here putting money, casting money to the wind in different organizations. They don't even know the leadership. They don't know who they're following. They don't know who the investment is going to. They don't know what the core of that organization is built on and what the vision of that company. I made it real clear. We have to reestablish the family organization, and we'll do it in the family way, but also this business is also to secure the black community of people who join us, because I have a definitive plan I want to put in place, but you can't put a big plan together and just throw it to the wind, which is a few people. You need a core group built, and then you can put a plan into action, because people also, they don't follow just because you have a great plan. There's a lot of people with great plans out there. People follow visionaries who care about them, who they can see that, they can talk to, they can feel it. And some people follow for other reasons. But that's why we built what we're building. We're going this way, but we got to make sure our core is strong. And that's why we're taking it one step at a time. That's what I want to say, brother. Okay.
All right. Is anybody else in the queue?
Let's see here. No, they just listen. Nobody's hands up right now. We have a lot of people on here, but nobody.
Okay.
No more takers right now.
no more takers.
Oh, wait. I have one. Hold on.
All right. That's what we're
talking about. We got somebody. Somebody got some courage, right? Big C on the chest. Last digits is 2697. Welcome to the call, 2697.
What's up, you guys? What's up, Leonard? What's up, Sean?
Hey, what's up?
So I just got a little brief comment. I was thinking a lot about what you guys are saying, and here's where I'm at. I see us as having, I guess the word for it is, a good word for it is too many cooks in the kitchen, right? But everybody's trying to come up with these ideas, right? We need to get specific. We need to slow down and get specific and start off with one or two good ideas. You know, the idea that I'm stuck on this owning a piece of land. But the thing is, we need somebody that can form an idea of how we can do it, we need a plan of action, how we can form a system, how we can start saving money, how we can start what I'm saying is where it's set up, where there's paperwork or whatever is needed. I just don't know how to do it. That shows that, okay, your money's locked in, it's safe, it's in a black bank. I mean, this is what I would like to start on, and I don't know. We just need to put our brains together for a few good ideas, and I believe that our people are looking for a form of leadership, because if what we're doing, if we can start doing something like this, and we can do it as a group, and then we can discuss our progress on the show or discuss it in the group, I believe that people will come together. They'll be like, oh, wow, that sounds kind of good. That sounds like something I might want to try. And I'm just using the idea of owning land as an idea. But, I mean, I think that's what we need to come together and get stable and stop, because there's so many things out there. We need so much help in so many areas. I mean, we need help. And I think we put all our money together. And back to that thing we were talking about at the last meeting about writing checks. We were able to write a check here and there, we would be somebody. People would start listening to us. So that's my idea.
Well, good. I like that feedback, and I think you touched on some things, and you're basically validating and championing on all the previous conversations. What I wanted to share is one of the things that I have done, and when you think about it for a minute, it's interesting. But whenever you see a program that says, well, we're going to, 2 months from now, CNN, we're going to have the conditions of the African American in the United States. We're going to have the conditions of the Hispanics in the United States. Now, one caller mentioned that we should have a leader. And the reason for leaders is because the leader, such as ourselves, see that the African American community, it has a sense of disparity, okay, throughout the nation. So the groups that have that same type of thing. So when the Hispanics came here, they were treated a certain way. As we were brought here, we were treated a certain way. So back in the 60s, they had Cesar Chavez. He was their leader. Well, we had several. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Angela Davis. We can go on and on. Now, because I study other groups, who's the leader for the Armenians? Who's the leader for the Chinese? Who's the leader for the Japanese? Who's the leader for the Jews, other than their rabbis, okay? They don't have to have that because they have a natural cultural collectivity because it wasn't destroyed by slavery. So, yes, we do need to have leadership, but my suggestion or my vision would be leadership movement. And what that means is we set up a platform, but we take this platform that we have, the basic things that will bring back the black community. So as Sean just shared, he wants to bring the black family together. Now, if you turn around and look at that, and I have some statistics, so it's kind of goes into what you were talking about, Sean. We all have to buy into that. We all have to buy into that vision, because it won't work if I have this agenda over here, someone else has this agenda over here. We're here for the black family. If we can solve the black family, we'll create everything. And I'll give you some stats here. In the 1960s, 40% of African Americans, but back then they said blacks. But I don't know. We probably need to revert back to being colored and Negroes, because when we were colored and Negroes, we worked better together. But, you know, us blacks, we're not doing too good. So in the 60s, it's 40% blacks own their business. 87% of the black families had two parents. Today, less than 7% have black-owned business, and only 25% of black families have two parents. Now, just look at the 60s and add 50 years, and I go 50 years the other way. And right now, our construct norm, our family construct norm, is a one-parent family, and I pretty much can bet is 99% it's the mother.
Right.
And
it is.
For the fact that we would leave our queen vulnerable and our children, our offspring vulnerable, I really hold the black man really, really accountable on a lot of these issues. And sometimes most people say, well, there's an elephant in the room and nobody wants to talk about it. My vision is we have a big-ass elephant and an 800-pound silverback in the room together. And we ain't talking about nothing. And it's sitting here big as day. Because the reality is, if the present conditions, now the question I would like everybody to cue in right now, what is it going to look like in your mind 50 years from now? What our neighborhoods are going to look like, what our great-grandchildren, what opportunities they're going to have. And if you can open up the lines and just, you know, let everyone have an opportunity to say what they think. So in year 2067, because it's coming, because nobody thought year 2000 was coming.
Right.
2010, 2015, now it's 2017. So 2020 is only 3 years away. So anyway, if you could open up the lines and just let everyone say, year 2067, what do you think, based on present conditions and behavior, what is it going to look like in 2067?
All right, now everybody, you heard the brother. If you press one before, your hand's still up, press one again, so put your hand down, and we'll see if you got a fresh question, and you're going to speak on that again. So just press one twice if you're going to speak again, so we can see the hand change, so I know you have something else to say. Question is, what will black people be able to celebrate in 50 years from now, 2067 from now? What will we be able to celebrate? Let me see here. I'm going to open some lines and see what they, some people, we are working this technology thing. That's going to be in our next mixer, technology and how to use it. Because maybe people have a struggle. Maybe people struggling to get on here. Let me just make sure. Let me hit this button right here. I'm going to hit 5769 again. Let's see. 5769, you there? Okay, he's not there.
Yes, I am.
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay. The question is,
good.
What will black people be able to celebrate in 50 years? Yes.
Well, it's kind of an eye-opening question. I think in 50 years, a lot of us will probably be either have moved away or been eliminated physically, because they're already beginning that process. They're already starting to kill us, and they're putting a point across to fellow citizens that are not African Americans that it's okay and you can do it. So it's going to be a lot of death. We're not going to have any jobs, and I think we'll become desperate at that point and probably resort to things that you see today, but on a higher level, like prostitution, drugs, stealing, things of that nature. But if we don't group together, we're going to be pushed out of everything. It looks like we're already pushed out of everything. Gentrification is pretty much very heavy in California and in a lot of places in the United States of America. So we are basically, I won't say towards extinction, but we are pushing possible extinction in the United States of America at least.
I like what you're saying. My prediction, I call it economic slavery, is what I call it, because the way it's going to go, all these other cultures that come here, and let's keep one thing in mind. If I live in China, or if I live in Armenia, or if I live in India, why would I want to leave my homeland and go to the United States? I don't get that. Why do the Mexicans want to leave Mexico and come to the United States? And when they come here, the one thing that they learn is English. So now when they have their own businesses in their community, the one thing they do is they're bilingual. So if we were to ask ourselves, what percentage of the African American speaks another language? Is it 10%? Is it 2%? Is it 1%? Because it's sure not 15%. I know that for a fact. So if we are not prepared in the next 50 years, you're absolutely correct. Everything that you said, that's what it's going to look like. But I'd like to hear someone else as well. But you're right on point. You're definitely on point.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to open up for 2697. Maybe you got something to say about that. CJ, 2697. What will we look at 50 years from now? 50 years from now, my brother.
Well, I'm glad that that Eddie had something to say, because I just don't have anything. I don't have anything positive to say, because the way you asked the question, the way you said it, I don't see nothing cool.
Right. Just be honest. Hey, you got to be real. Keep it real. Keep it 100.
That's why I asked the question. That's why I asked it.
It is what it is, and the thing is,
be working though.
Individually, I see it's failing, and we have got to come together. I thank God for the BABC, because this is the best I've felt in years. Because it's like, it just feel like fighting a losing battle. We've got to pull our shit together and come together. To have any kind of hope, I see it. Okay, as far as like the people, everybody, probably most of the people that are on the line right now, I don't see it as really benefiting us directly. But if we pull together, maybe we can pull some of these youngsters together, because they don't know what to do. They don't have any idea of what to do. So I don't know. We need to come together first.
Right. And the reason why I asked that question is to hear it. And yes, if you look at present conditions and now we don't make the change, it is very bleak. But because our history, we were the progressive race, everybody came to Africa to learn. So it's in us. But it's the consciousness. It's the consciousness that's not present. Because there's no way that we should be in this condition that we're in. Because we were supposed to be still progressive, and we just have to get that back. But the thing that you mentioned about the youth, here's the thing twofold. Our youth today, like I'm an elder, I'm in my 60s, so I expect when I say something to kids for them to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir," but I would never say anything to a kid, because he just might slap me. And I used to fight.
They better not slap me. I know. I don't care how old I am.
I might have to go home and get my pistol, and then there I am, right? So whereas before, if I said anything out of line when I was 15, 16, and an elder said something, it was clear. I'm sorry, and please don't tell my mother or father. Please.
It's true. Yeah.
So
it's true.
You see that going, and then the next thing is we have to be the role model and the example for our youth.
Exactly.
And because we're not doing it, how do you expect them to do it? Mm-hmm. So that's a very good point. So I just wanted to touch on to that. And great comment and great comments. And feedback. Anybody else on the line, Chef? Go ahead.
Hey, before you cut me off, am I still on?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, because it goes right back to what I was saying earlier. It's just like we need to show them. Because we're trying to get them to come in, to try to get them to they're not wanting to. They don't want to be educated. They're like
right.
They don't want any help. They don't want any help. So we got to show them. We got to show them, and we just need a nice tight group of us, senior citizens or whatever you want to call it.
Hey, you speak for yourself. I'm not a senior.
Together and be able to do what we need to do.
Senior.
Yeah. Well, I am, and I'm proud to, because I'm glad I got it. Don't everybody?
Amen. Okay, hey, you're right about that. I want to live to be a senior, but I'm not quite there yet. Oh, we got one more.
Right.
We got one. Let me see. 9339. I know she got to speak on that. What will we look like in 50 years from now, Mai?
Okay. Calling names now. So
I knew you was gonna say.
I'm
I forgot. My bad.
talking about.
They calling my name all day. So anyway, yeah.
I know. I noticed that. But anyway, so
okay,
I'm
sorry.
talking about the elephant in the room. I'm gonna bring it out. So
And
based on present conditions, right? Okay. So based on present conditions, what I see in 50 years, if we continue going down the road that we're going right now, I see a very, very, very diluted African American race. I see African American basically becoming, like Brother Eddie, I believe, said, almost extinct. Well, he said not extinct, but I see it not in 50 years, but we'll definitely be a lot closer to it. I feel like there is no value in the African American mindset. Well, the younger generations, the millennials on down, in their mindset, I don't feel like they really place a value on being African American. And I don't know when that started. I kind of want to say 70s on down or something.
80s.
Well, basically, after the last leaders got killed, who I consider the real leaders, the ones of the 60s, once they were killed, it's like nobody wanted to be black anymore. The I'm black and I'm proud was gone, just as when James Brown's song went out of style or whatever. And it became, well, I guess, like, if we can't beat them, join them. They're never going to let us succeed or whatever. But not only that, we just were allowed to integrate, which I've said before, I think that probably was the worst thing that happened to us. So when there became more options, and we've always wanted, unfortunately, as a people, what the white man had, because that was always put in front of us as the goal or the best thing that we could, aspire to be, is with him or as close to him or, as possible. So we wanted to talk like him, walk like him, live in their neighborhoods, be educated in their schools, and ultimately mate with them and make quote-unquote pretty babies. And so there's a whole lot of that, and that seems to be the mindset and the only desire now, for the most part, that African-American people have, is to dilute the race, to not marry another African-American, not mate with another African-American, to get with somebody that's non-black so they can, quote, have pretty babies. And then what? I mean, there's a whole lot of pretty people in prison, and that's all they have going for them is their looks, and they're not really worth anything, and they're not staying together as families. And so, like you talked about, all these single moms. Anyway, that's where I see us. I see us really not even having much of a black race left, none with any type of esteem for the race, no kind of just positive, mindset that where we feel empowered or good about being black. And I feel like that's been going on for several years, and it's really, 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 really sad. And I blame partly, the whole, mindset, all of the entire brainwashing that we've been put under as a people to think that everything is black. I mean, everything that's black is bad. I mean, that's worked on all of us. But when you have so many of the black men leaving the black women for non-black women, then that continued to deteriorate not only I said the elephant in the room, not there's the gorilla, but not only
there you go. Don't take it there.
Not only the mindset, I mean, the lack of confidence or self-esteem, it just continued to erode, the black woman's self-esteem, and then her taking it out on the kids that she's left behind with, and then teaching them, negativity, and them having negative thoughts about their own race as well, feeling like they're unworthy and no good because they heard about their no good dad, and so then they continue to, well, I don't want to be with another black person if we're no good, and it's really, 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 really sad. But that's what I see.
You see that in the next 50 years.
Yep.
Okay, good.
I mean, despite the whole economic part, I just figured I'd touch on the elephant and the gorilla in the room on that part.
I think that was a silverback. I think that was a silverback right there, but yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
What?
That was a silverback gorilla.
Yeah, it was a silverback in the room.
That's not
right
an
there.
ordinary gorilla.
Yeah, it wasn't ordinary. It was, whew, he's swinging from the tree right now. Yeah, it was
that's right.
King Kong.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So, you have any feedback on that, Sean?
I got nothing
to add to it.
I'm gonna just tell you, being somebody well traveled as I am, man, I've seen what happens to a race of people in their own country, in their own land, and when they don't control their economical future and destiny. The Hawaiians in Honolulu, and this was a culture shock for me. And when I went to lead Hawaii for the first time, you watch Fantasy Island. I'm showing you my age a little bit. You watch Fantasy Island when you're young, you think, oh man, Hawaii is beautiful, and it's all beautiful Hawaiian women and all this stuff is great over there. I go over there, and I go to Honolulu, and it's in the 90s, and hard to find Hawaiians. All these Chinese people running around here. The Japanese people running around. Japanese people running around here. It's like they own Hawaii. And I finally found the Hawaiians. They were in the kitchen cooking. They were all the low-level jobs, janitorial jobs. I'm like, wow, living in squalor. This is what I see the next 50 years for black folks. That's why I'm working the way I am with this group and this business, this organization, to change that, because I understand that just because somebody my age or younger than me don't care about the future, they're gonna care when they don't eat. See, for some reason in this country we've gotten used to all what I call the Negro trinkets and stuff, the TV, the internet, the sports game and entertainment club and all. That's all great till you get older and you can't find a job. Kids don't respect you, don't like you, don't visit you. Now you can't make money. Now you're worried about your next meal, living on the street and living in a shoebox. And it's nothing for you there. You look back like, wow, if I just would have spent more time building my community or working on myself when I was 20-something, 30-something, 40-something, I wouldn't be in a situation at 65 to where I am now. And that's the sad part. Mm-hmm. Black folks in this country seem to wake up when they get old and gray and they realize, man, for the most part, most of them, they don't think about their life until they get to the age where they realize they looking, at the last leg. So and it pisses me off because I told my friends I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that because we have to build this thing now. Because I told people all the time, I said, listen, I ain't going to stay here and be a beggar with the rest of them. I'm not. I'd rather be a beggar. If I'm going to be a beggar among poor people, I'm going to be poor in Africa or some black nation somewhere. People look like me. I'm not going to be running around begging white folks for my next meal. I'm just not that guy. A lot of people are going to be okay with that, and they're going to have to be okay with that, but that ain't going to be me. So we're going to build this thing. We're going to get our own land. We're going to do our own thing, or we ain't going to do this. It's like on or off for me because I feel like black folks don't understand, and I feel like if we had more time with our children younger and send them to travel the world and see what the world really is outside the big U.S. and all the great and money we have now and the Negro trinkets we got here, go to Africa, go to Mexico, go to some of the black nations, Jamaica, and see how people really living over there and see this is the kind of life you want to have, because that day is coming if we don't build this thing over here. Asian folks over here heavy, Indians over here heavy, Middle Easterns over here heavy, Mexicans over here heavy, and white folks is still in control and power. Black folks, there's really no place for us right now in this own country but squalor. And I just refuse to live like that because I come from squalor. I come from the poor, the poverty-stricken areas, and I'm not going back to that. I'm just not going back. If y'all want to go back to that, those who had middle-class family life and you always had good food and running water, things I didn't have all the time, that's okay. I'm just not that guy. I'm not going back to that. And I'm going to fight tooth and nail to keep what I got and get a little bit more from our people. That's why I say it's important for us to be with other like-minded people. I don't spend a lot of time with nobody who don't care about their life and the future of our people. I spend literally no time with people outside of work that don't have like-mindedness or willing to learn something new about positive for our people. If you guys any business meetings that I've been to, that you meet my people, these are my friends, business partners, my family. I spend all my time with them. Everybody else is people I work to make money. I'm helping to get your mind open. That's it. I don't have nobody that I speak with and spend time with. We ain't going to the movies. We're not going to the park. We're not doing none of that stuff together if your mind is in the cloud. You're not plugged into the system. I don't spend time with people like that. Some people might do that. Mm-hmm. That's on you. But I feel like the Bible say, iron sharpens iron. If you spend time with people who ain't going nowhere, they will slow your pattern of your trajectory down too. And you might not realize it right now, but they do. The Bible also talks about do not be misled. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Mama drilled into my head all the time. Do not be misled. Bad associations spoil useful habits. And I believe that is true. You waste your time with people who ain't going nowhere. I pull certain friends out of bad situations because, hey, man, what are you doing over here doing this? This ain't what you want to do. It's not for you. But if they had the real friends would tell them that, if they really was their friends, they wouldn't be in a situation like that anyway. But your real friends and family going to tell you and give you the real game, good or bad and indifferent, when you're going off the path. And that's what I do because I don't spend no time with nobody who ain't on the right track. And if I can't help you to get to the right track, you don't care about your life, then I would drop on you when I see you. But I'm not getting out of my way, getting off the path because you over here. I will try to get you on the path to go this way. But if you choose to do the other way, that's on you. Because I know what's going to happen on that road. Been that way. I've been to my family members who've been doing 8, 10, 20 years in the prison because, they decided to go with the wrong crowd. But some learned, some didn't. Sometimes things can happen and you can cost you your life, and you might not see it. But, that's why I say the elders is very important. We got elders in our community groups because we need that insight and that knowledge from what they had. Why go relive something that's already been done? A brother can tell you, hey, brother, we've been here before. Let's not go down here and do this over here. You see, but you got to be strong enough and mature enough, humble up to take that knowledge and go with it. A lot of young people right now, people, I caution you, like some people, the father's going out the home. Yeah, that's true. But mamas, let's talk to the mamas. Some mamas sometimes, they're not doing the right thing either. We can say that brothers left the family, but let me say something. The sisters out here, they ain't all doing it right either. I'm going to tell you like that because when you got a strong man in your circle and you run him away, that's going to be your fault when them young kids grow up, don't respect men and women because I don't believe women can raise, most men can't be raised by a woman to be satisfaction, to be balanced in mind and heart and everything because a young man is a young conqueror. A young man wants to lead. He wants to lead. And once you get to be 6 foot something and your mama's 5'4", she telling you something, she got to keep her foot on your neck a long time when you're young for you to have that kind of respect. And what mamas generally do, a lot of them, they love him to death. And then the boy get up, he's acting a fool. Now nobody around him, male figures, can't snatch him up. See, the community, like you said, brother Leonard said, hey, you in the community, you snatching somebody up, you doing something wrong, they tell your mom and dad, you don't want that to happen. They can take it, they can counsel you on the street. Try to counsel some of your young cats out here today. They said he might slap you or something. Well, I hope nobody slap me. It's gonna be a problem right there. I ain't going home and get no guns, and I'm gonna deal with you right there on the spot. But I hope that don't happen. But yeah, it's right. Some people fear, and how are we gonna get a community growing when our next 2 generations coming up behind us? Their own parents is afraid of them, and that's gonna be a big problem. We gotta deal with that because we're getting older. They're growing up to be grown men and women. But if you're afraid of your own children, how are we gonna get them in? How are we gonna get that in check to have a community when you're afraid of your own kids? It ain't gonna happen that way.
That's right.
So we gave the authority up to raise our own families, our own communities to the policeman, to the government, and it got to be easy for some of us because some of us had kids too young. We want to still kick it in the club and do stuff. We had kids. Now we want to be grown. Now our kids are grown with us. And it's like, okay, y'all both growing the same level. You're a little older than your kids. They ain't listen to you because you wasn't there. You want to drop them off and do whatever, but now you grown and you older now and you want to slow down now. Your kids look at you like, man, well, I'm going to listen to you. You're in the club next to me. So it's like you look at the next community coming up. What are we going to do if we don't have authority over our community? With the young kids coming up in the community, I got kids. My kids down the street. Leonard sees my kids. He can't say nothing to my kid to check him if he got a line. I gotta give community members that power. Listen, Leonard, if you see my kid acting up, you deal with him and then you send him home, and I'm gonna deal with him too, because they have to know you are being judged by, and you are being watched out for, because out of love from everybody in the community. But if you give that, nobody touch my kid, tell my kid nothing, that's my child, whatever. See all that right there? We can't live together, community, because you got it all wrong. It takes a village to raise a child.
There
and
it
a strong
is.
community to uphold the lasting development of a people. See, so we gave the authority back to the policemen, because they're going to take the authority and the government to do whatever. CPS come in and take your kids from you. So when you ain't there, your kids get spoiled and they're acting a fool. You got people going to be teachers at school. They can't discipline your child. They can't tell them nothing, because they know mama and daddy going to come down here and say, don't nobody touch my kid. You see that kind of thing going on right there? We are dooming ourselves for the next generation. I'm not saying people at school are always right. I'm not saying they're always right. I'm just saying when your child is wrong, you should allow them to be disciplined correctly by the community members and yourself. If we don't do that right there, family, it's best we don't have a community together with people who are not on that level, because it's going to be chaos when your kid acting the fool, and brother Edwin, brother Collins, or brother Simmons, brother Leon. Everybody get brother Dadon. We can't, brother Marshall, brother Walker can't tell your kids nothing. See, that's a problem. And we got too many single parents homes right now where they don't want nobody touching their kids, telling kids nothing. And that's why we have this problem we're dealing with today. We're getting older. Right. I can't be fighting no 21-year-old at 65 years old. I can't be wrestling with no grown man, 25-year-old grown man at 70 years old. You kidding me? I got to be able to tell that young man something, and he got to respect me being an elder. He has to respect what I tell him. And, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Wolf. Yes, sir. I'm going to go home. I'm sorry I did whatever. But we don't have that. We gave that power up. If we don't get it back, we're in trouble.
Right. Well, you mentioned a very good point. And I'd like to add, when the black father, the family, the males joined gangs, and the gangs became their family. So, again, many of our conditions, we have to look inward. And I think if we take a hard look at what we can do and accept responsibility for what we didn't do, I think you'll see some great things happen. But it was great feedback. I like everything that everybody said. I hope we all are going to think about what the next 50 years are going to look like if we don't start to change, and share this with all your own personal circle, family. Everybody needs to think about that. And again, Wolf, I appreciate the opportunity to be the host on tonight's show, but that's all I have for tonight. Okay.
So I guess if I didn't answer the question, what will black people look like? What will we celebrate in 50 years? I'm going to say we'll be celebrating yesteryear and what we used to have. We won't be celebrating nothing currently. We'll be celebrating the past and wishing for a better future, which none will come if we don't do this now. So that's my answer to that. And anybody got any last words? Now's the time. Press 1 on your phone, and we'll let you have your say. If you were afraid to speak earlier, here's your time. I guarantee you we won't hurt you. Go ahead and say whatever you need to say. And if you don't know how the phone works, I'll just open the lines up and I'll give somebody a shot. People who haven't spoken, I'll just open the line up. Let's see what we have. We got one person, 4355. 4355. You're live. Something you want to say? Here you have the time. Area code 209. Okay. Oh, we got last digits is 2008. Your line is open. You're hot. Any last comments? 2008.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Keisha. Yes.
Hey, how are you? Yes,
how are you? It's Simon here. We missed you.
I know. Oh my God, my car. My car is still not working, but it will definitely. I will be at the next one.
Is it the starter? You know it's the starter for sure. Is it the starter?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah, because I tried to have it turn. I had my, and then I got there and it just stopped. And then when I tried to jump start it again, it wouldn't happen. And then somebody said, well, maybe the starter. So I haven't had time to go and actually confirm that, but it's beyond the battery.
Okay. All right. Well, can you answer the question? What would Black people be able to celebrate in 50 years? Any comments on that?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have anything different from what everybody else commented on, but
okay.
I don't actually see, like I said, I don't see, like if we continue the way we're going, I don't really see, like you said, it's more about like thinking about what we had in the past and like trying to figure out what we're going to do for the future, like because the present was just going to be very bleak.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
and yeah, and it's yeah, and a lot of things that that people were mentioning as far as the economics and education and all that stuff. But I think it's deeper than that. I think Mike touched on it as far like the consciousness about like really what it means to be Black and be proud of it, and then wanting to get that confidence and that drive be proud of it and just represent. But I think that's missing, and I don't know how we get that back. It's a lot. There's a way, you have structure as far as we put money here to get land. We do this to put our money in a Black-owned bank. There's certain things that you can do, but to get that consciousness, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what the steps are.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you want to speak on that?
Yeah,
I got a lot to say on that.
Exactly.
Go ahead, bro.
We're good. That's a really good point. What I envision in terms of what we should do is, and you touched on it, how you articulate that and put it together and develop that, is those things that you see, the consciousness. Then say we have a resource center, and our resource center talks about our past history, our future, and our present. So then you have elders talk to you about what it was like, for example, back in the 60s and before that, and where we need to go, how important it is to have the family. That's that. Then you have another department that focus on security and watching our neighborhoods. So you have someone that will excel in that. Then you may have another department where someone focuses on education. And I'll give you an example of something that I experienced studying another culture. And that these are type of opportunities that we should try to emulate. There was a Filipino young lady that I knew. And if you notice, many of the Filipinos, many of them work in hospitals and clinics, if you go there, or ER department. So there was a guy, he was Filipino, he had a position, and he was the head of the coder department. He knew of the other Filipinos that wanted to prepare to take a test to be coders. What they did was, there was 5 of them, and what they did is they put up $200 each. They got a room, and on Saturdays, he would prepare them to take that test, and they paid him. And but there was only Filipinos. And other cultures do those type of things, and those type of things make them successful. So if you're not standing by their door, you don't know what other cultures do, because you are very right, and you're right on point. When you say, and I appreciate your honesty, you don't know what that looks like. And that's an issue for even someone, and I'm teasing you right now, so don't hurt me and don't call me names. But you sound like you're young. And why I say that is because people my age, and I hold the baby boomers accountable, is that we dropped the ball, because you should have an example. There already should be a program set in place that you know what that looks like, and you shouldn't even have to say that. It would be natural to you. And that was the consciousness that you were talking about. But those are very good points you brought up. Sean?
All right. Now, my thing is, sister, I'll tell you what my thing is people looking for something to like some big what they say epiphany to happen to say, oh yeah, this is how we change it. Let me just tell you, it's simple as this. It's called practice. Practice, practice, practice. You practice what you preach, what you believe in. And I think that we come together and we practice loving each other, practice connecting with each other, practice sharing resources with each other. It will happen. It will happen through practice. And we just need more practice because people have been taught to be individuals for so long. So now they practice individualism. And individual, what is that? That breeds, I'm better than you. I'm different than you. You need me. I don't need you. Look at me, not look at you. Instead of practicing family orientation, practicing family love, family gatherings. That's why we do these. We're going to do these mixers probably once a quarter after this last qualifying mixer. We clean the group out. We're going to do at least one every quarter because you have to get people, know people, see how they're doing, see how things are going for them. Like the sister on the phone, Keisha. But Atlanta, you probably don't know who that is, but you met her already. But you'll get refreshed. She didn't make it the last time because her car was down. But yeah, you know who she is. You'll see. But that just takes practice, family. And as we practice, and also I want to say something before we shut the call down. We got about 5 minutes left. I want to say something too to everybody on the call listening. Let me tell you something, family. Building a community is a lot of work. But it don't have to be a lot of work for one person or two people or four people or 10 people. If everybody did a little bit, things would be moving a lot faster than what it is. And here's how you do that. You have to build a community in the mindset that you have for your job. People go to work when they're sick, disgusted, hate the boss, rain, sleet, or snow, they're at work. If you look at building a community, like my sister Yolanda, she's now on the phone, shout out to Yolanda, she said you have to do things intentionally. Intentionally spend money with black businesses like the Southern Cafe. You have to be intentional. You say, no, I'm going to spend this money with my black people. I'm going to go do it for here. And this is what I'm going to do. Be intentional. You have to look at this building thing. It can't be a weekend hobby. It can't be something you do once every 6 months. Every day. Because if your mindset is on something, when you meet somebody, a quality person to add to the community, like CJ always does. Shout out to CJ. He always looking for people, and he brings some good people. He got some good people to the mixers and stuff, and it's been working. Me, I'm always on the lookout for people, always. But if you're not focused on that, if you were the leader of a community, it wouldn't happen for 10 years. So you have to spend your time as if you're going to your job. Building a community is like going to your job. It's something you have to do to pay the bills. It's something you have to do, build a community to survive, for us to survive in this country. People talk about 50 years in this country and how things are going to look. I'm just saying, somebody said extinction. My brother Eddie says extinction in this country. Maya said push toward extinction too. My thing is this. When I think about extinction in this country, I'm thinking about just this country. They cannot remove us from the face of the earth. But the U.S. represents 13% of it's a small population over the U.S. We can definitely be removed from here. Let's understand that. We can't be removed from here, but we can't move from the whole world. So that's my spill on that, family. Any last words, Brother Leonard? You want to tell people where to find you, your website and everything? Here's the time.
Yeah, I would like all of you to, if you get a chance, take this down, please, and go through it. It's called OurUndergroundRailroad.com. But what it stands for is Our Underground Railroad Movement to Economic Independence. And I would encourage you to go through it. You can kind of get an idea of some of the things that I see that we can do and that can help us prosper. But that's all I have. And thanks, Wolf, for allowing me to do that. I appreciate it.
Also, when you put that website, you guys put www in front of that because, that happened before. Yeah, www. and then the website. Okay?
Right.
Well, thanks for everybody joining us. I want to give you guys a special treat tonight, too. It's something I believe in. We need to separate from other groups. We need to separate. Brother Eddie Crow, he made a song just for the group, just for the business. And as an outro, I'm going to play that song. And this is what we need to do, separate. And you guys can find us on Facebook. Our public page is The Bay Area Black Community. You can follow us on YouTube, The Bay Area Black Community. All our YouTube and our broadcasting videos are on there. Make sure you sign in with Gmail so you can like the video or broadcast and leave your comments there. So, without further ado, my brother Eddie Crow, Separate. Listen to the lyrics of this song, because that's what I believe myself. West Coast Wolf, thanking everybody for joining us. Thank you, Brother Lennox, for hosting. Peace.
Separate when you notice it's something great. Hate to hate, but I'm shaking up all the fake. About the powers for our kids. We gotta save it so they can easily live. Least for my people ain't treated equal. Tired of sequels, stories bore me, lies kill glory. Black so beautiful, matter before me. Before extinction, we won't be preaching. Feet can't be marching. Hey, that shit go in the coffin. Black fist, black thoughts, whites want us cut off. Right now, get rid of coons in the room. Don't assume we clean here, front to rear. Ain't no luck, that tool truck, we know war. Life on line, we gotta fight from the core. Outnumber, we pull back, but come around and flank you. Race soldiers don't fight you, gotta think like they do. Blaze trails we walk through, work together, don't disagree. One mind, black carpool, running over them enemies. I'ma tell you what need to be. You gon' see what you wanna see. We gon' do what we gotta do. As long as we live after you. Well past my children too. Yeah. Man, dog, fight back. Fuck about if you like that. Separate when you know it's something great. Yeah, I hate, but I'm shaking up all the bait. About the powers for our kids. We gotta save it so they can easily live. Separate when you know it's something great. Hate to hate, but I'm shaking up all the bait. About the powers for our kids. We gotta save it so they can easily live. Losing hours, power tastes sour, taste black power, chasing a coward. Economy is weak, we reaching a peak. You know talking shit, but wolf a killer sheep, don't be that little fleet. We better get our kids ready for them sharp teeth. Eye for an eye, really need to be applied. Nigga try to get by, I'd rather grab my chopper. Racism created by them whites. They stole land, it's all about they plight. And raping all our women, yeah, we really see they tight. And got the damn nerve, try to tell me wrong from right. Did that, sit back, we laugh at as pig fat. Bow down to no one, black king, no dream, young queen. History is like that, minds will never hold back. Money in the bank, together we will pull rank. Buying politicians, money make a bitch move. Think about the mission, my kids gotta see it, but we gotta achieve it. No longer being cheated, you wish we would delete what we've been through. I don't see a reason we should see you. Birth of a nation, identification, celebration, education. Learn about our past, flash, get a set, hit a jack, or a reject. Then act like he perfect, it's a clown circus. My people have a purpose, we cannot be purchased. Cannot be purchased. Separate when you know it's something great. Hate to hate, but I'm shaking up all the bait. About the powers for our kids. We gotta save it so they can easily live. Well, you before the white man needs you or need you. Where's your history? We are not about to turn around. Yes, sir. We have to defend ourselves. We intend to defend ourselves. We did so in the past. We're going to do it today and the day after that and the day after that. We've seen the terrible results of violence in this country. We are freedom. We want the power to determine the destiny of our black community. The beating and killing of our children and young people will not deter us. We want full employment for our people. There are millions of decent Americans who are willing to sacrifice for change.